Welcome to the Ben Don't Break podcast. We are powered by The Source, Ben's locally owned media company and weekly newspaper. This podcast is our eddy in the rushing waters of local journalism. We are glad that you're taking some of your time to listen to us chat with the people who shape our local community. Support us through our member program at bensource.com.
Thank you to our presenting sponsor, RE/MAX Key Properties, a family-owned full-service real estate brokerage specializing in residential, luxury, commercial, new construction, and ranch and land properties. Their new state-of-the-art facility at 42 Greenwood Avenue is a modern, collaborative space and the new home of the Ben Don't Break podcast recording studio.
I'm Aaron Switzer, publisher of The Source and co-producer of this podcast with off-camera Megan Burton, who arranges all these guests for us, thankfully. We have with us in the studio today Beau Eastes. He is the marketing director for the Old Mill District and Hayden Homes Amphitheater here in lovely Bend, Oregon. He has been with the Old Mill District since 2017, serving as marketing director since 2021. Prior to his marketing career, Beau spent more than 8 years as a journalist at the Bulletin, where he covered sports, business, features, local history, and craft beer, earning recognition for his investigative reporting. A graduate of the University of Oregon School of Journalism, Beau also worked as a copywriter and continues to write about travel and the outdoors as a freelance writer. Right off the bat, did not know that, Beau.
I haven't done much of it lately, but I wrote for 1859 and Ben Mag for a while, really up until I became marketing director, and then it felt like it got to be a little just time-wise didn't have as much as I wanted. So.
Sure. Well, let's just start. I mean, I'm sure people are fascinated by how you got. I mean, are you an Oregonian? Because you went to University of Oregon. How'd you get to the U of O?
And I've got to correct you. I did not graduate from U of O. Okay. So I grew up in western Kansas, small town, Pratt, Kansas, about an hour west of Wichita for any Kansas listeners out there. Went to the small school, 500 kids, really, really small liberal arts school. There's a lot of those in Kansas. But played sports there, got a history degree with a minor in religion and philosophy, and had no idea what I wanted to do. My best friend at the time, Lucas Alberg, who is now the marketing PR director for Central Oregon Community College. His girlfriend thought she had a job in Portland, Oregon, and he and I both had liberal arts degrees that we had no idea what to do with. And so we moved out to Portland, Oregon in June of 2001. And I've been out west ever since. So fell in love with the West, fell in love with Oregon, fell in love with Portland. Was there. I taught high school for a year. I waited tables, bartended. And then I went back to U of O to do a post-bac degree. And
for a second, I was like, man, our market research is so off.
Oh, no.
Kansas and U of O are not close.
Like, no. So I taught high school for a year and realized that is not what I wanted to do. And so I went down to U of O to go to the journalism school, which was fantastic. Before I got they're on the quarter system. And so I had 1 quarter left. It's Spanish 202. I still need to take. But I ended up doing I backpacked in Europe, what would have been my last semester, and then I got a job when I got back. So, so the East Oregonian out in Pendleton, I lived in Pendleton and Hermiston. That was my first journalism job, and I was there for 9 months. It was great. It was, you learn how to do absolutely everything, right? You learn how to write, take photos, some graphic design. And
those make the best journal. Those places make the best journals because they get the whole operation. It's not like you're an ivory tower editorial writer. How it works.
Headlines, cut, everything. And those papers, they still are, but that was in 2005. I mean, they covered high school sports like they were colleges, right? And it was a big deal. Friday Night Lights and really, really fun. Took a job at a Gannett paper in St. George, Utah. Was there for about a year and a half. Covering a small college, Southern Utah University. It was great, really fun. But wanted to get back to Oregon, and then took a job with the Bulletin and was there before, and loved what I did. My beat, at the end of that was craft. I covered the city of Redmond, and covered Warm Springs, but then I got to do history and craft beer, and so it was great. I loved it. And
only in Oregon, only in Bend, the craft beer. But it was exploding at the time that you were there. So you were.
It was because I left in 15. And it was peak beer, right? I think Brewfest might have been 4 days that year, even, right?
Right. Well, I remember at the time, everybody, I mean, there was a brewery opening once a month, and it was like, this is unsustainable. There's no way.
This is when the biggest controversy in Bend was that 10 Barrel sold out, right? And people lost their minds.
Right.
I had friends that they had 10 Barrel stickers on their snowboard and they would get booed at the mountain.
Yeah, right.
After that.
I totally remember that. Yeah, the calls for boycott, people in our source offices, like demanding the angle that we were going to take in covering the buyout, and I mean, it was a big deal because craft beer was sacred back then. I mean, as from the thing, it was like, and Bend was the heart of all those independents that had made it big. And
I mean, I think when I moved here in 07, right, there was, the Chute, Silver Moon, Ben Brewing, and McMenamins had just come to town, right? And then 10 Barrel, there were Wildfire, then 10 Barrel, and yeah. I mean, I think we still have, do we have 28 to 30 in Central Oregon now? But yeah, it was wild.
Still held on. I mean, I mean, we could make, this could be a, what's a Grand Craft podcast? Is that the other one? I'm curious, but going back to the Eastern Oregonian, I mean, my wife was she did archaeology in Hermiston. So
cool.
I'm pretty familiar with the area.
Yeah.
Watermelon country.
And
I come from Georgia. So when I heard there were watermelons in Hermiston, I was like, no way. And those are fighting words.
Hermiston watermelons are right. You can get here are a big deal. It was great because I came from a small town where I grew up was about 5,000 people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get how important, whether it's high school sports or school board meetings, right, are for those communities.
Yeah.
It was also great to go out to places like Echo and Stanfield and Helix and Milton Freewater, right? And go to Muddy Frogwater days in Milton Freewater. I loved it. And I loved my time in the heart of Portland. I lived in Northwest Portland and I love that. And I love that our state then has helixes, right? As well. And whether it's, I love the diversity of our state in the size of towns and the different kind of communities.
Yeah. I think that it's the thing about journalists, I think, that a lot of people don't understand when they think about media. And this comes into play when we do editorial endorsements or we do editorials, is that when you're in those communities, any community, and you're a journalist, it is your full-time job to try to understand the people, how it works, who's powerful, who's not powerful.
Be curious about everything.
Right. And you do it professionally. It's not like we're doing it like you're surfing social media and looking at high points. And I do think in those small towns, it becomes even more relevant because they do need to be covered, and they're small and they're out there. And if you that individual one journalist isn't going there, nobody's going there.
Yeah, it's showing up, but it's going to those school board meetings, those county commission meetings. It's going to those nonprofit events, right? Yeah.
When you so you took the big leap up to Bend, Oregon. At the time in 2015, which Bend was booming.
07.
Okay. Yeah. And then and you started working at the Bulletin in 07.
Yeah, I when I was at the East Oregonian, one of the guys that I worked with, one of his college buddies, was a copy editor at the Bulletin.
Oh, okay.
And I loved my time in Utah. It's beautiful. I was ready to get back to Oregon, and
you can feel comfortable in this room bashing Utah.
No,
I'm not a fan. It's got its beautiful places.
It's very beautiful. And the Red Rocks, the southern part, and the Wasatch Front. Different community. But I was ready to get back to Oregon, and I took a job that I probably wasn't looking for. I became essentially a prep editor for high school sports, but I wanted to get back, and I visited Bend before when I was at in Pendleton and Hermiston, and thought, this is a dream place to go to.
Yeah. Did you want to pull away from general reporting or the kind of overall reporting to get into? I mean, you were doing sports.
Yeah.
Did you want to leave sports? Were you looking for a bigger venue? Because some people, I mean, they're so passionate about sports reporting. They stay there forever.
Oh no, I enjoyed sports. I would have left earlier. My ex-wife and I, we had a baby, and so that sports schedule was, we essentially did split shifts. So she would go to work 9 to 3, and then I'd go in from 3 to 11.
Okay.
And so I stayed in sports probably a little longer than I wanted to.
Yeah.
When my daughter Allie, who's 16 now, got into preschool, then I kind of lobbied to do this. It was kind of that general beat covering a bunch of different things. So.
Yeah, you meet those sports reporters, and I mean, some of them are just like it's their life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
they track
can't
them all
imagine
the way.
anything else.
Right, and
Yeah.
they track those kids. They'll tell you, when someone retired. They made Major League Baseball for some AAA team somewhere. All the stat dudes and stuff.
Yeah, the Oregon State records and
Yeah, they're fascinating.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
No, I loved my stint as a journalist, and I would have still have been there.
Yeah.
We lost our health insurance,
Yeah.
and furlough days, and it got really tough to be a journalist at the Bulletin in Bend at that time, and so made the jump to marketing over at what was Ben Broadband at the time.
Oh, so
That
you
was
went to Ben Broadband.
Talk about legacy, old legacy.
You're touching all of the big boys.
So I joined Ben Broadband a year or two after they were acquired by TDS.
Okay.
And they were still kind of figuring out who they were in that transition. It was a great job to kind of crash course in all kinds of different copywriting.
Right.
I mean, it was everything from writing radio and TV scripts, print, email, or not email, but actual direct mail things.
Yeah.
Learned a lot, but also realized, man, I wanted to get back to something that was more local. At the time, TDS's national marketing team, half of it was based here in Bend and half of it was in Madison, Wisconsin.
Well, they're massive.
Yeah.
I mean, I go visit my sister-in-law in South Carolina.
And
she's got
TDS.
TDS. And I was seeing the logo going around. I was like, this is crazy.
I was excited to get back to doing something that was a little bit more local.
Yeah, sure. Were you, when you were in your final stages at the Bulletin, was it still under Costa? Was it just prior to the EO sale?
It was, when was the EO sale? 17?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was still Costa and Gordon.
Okay.
And it was, we'd gone through layoffs and furlough days. And then, it's the mentality of the journalist is like, well, I can still figure that out. And I was doing some cyclocross racing with a buddy, and I didn't have insurance. And my buddy it was just looked like a normal fall. His handlebars, it punctured him a little bit. Had to go to the ER. And I thought, oh my God, if that happens to us, I had medically bankrupt our family. I can't do this anymore.
Right.
And so that's when I started really looking at what are some jobs, outside of journalism.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty, I think it's a pretty common story for the industry, unfortunately. And
it's fascinating. There's so many people that work in PR marketing in Bend that are old Bulletin because nobody wanted to leave.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So then, how did you make the jump to the amphitheater? I mean, you're at TDS. First of all, was it hard for you as a journalist? Because there's always that ethical consideration of I don't think the general public understands that it's a big leap when someone leaves from one side of the PR line to the other side of the line.
You so self-identify as a journalist, right? And for a while, I was doing a lot of freelance still, but it took.
I'm a writer.
It took me a long time to get over that.
Yeah.
But I did, and I love what I do now. What happened is I had a colleague at Ben Broadband, Stephanie Sinner. She's high up in marketing at oh gosh, I forget. It's the organic pesticide company over by Les Schwab.
Okay.
Awesome
anyway, she's great.
Awesome human being, great friend. I think she recognized that I was looking for something else, and she was friends with some of the folks over at the amphitheater in the Old Mill District.
Yeah.
And before they even they were looking for a digital content writer, somebody to update the website, run social, blogs, newsletter, and kind of put me in touch with them. And they were looking for somebody that could write about Brewfest, could write about music, and write about business.
Totally,
right. And I'm like, this is a really good fit.
Yeah.
Right. Don't screw this up. Buddy.
Yeah.
So, And so I moved over there in 2017.
And then, so slowly but surely from there, you have gone. I mean, obviously the amphitheater and everything involved with the Old Mill has exploded exponentially.
Oh, it's been really fun.
And we should mention at this point, I think it's 25 years, right?
It is. It's our 25th anniversary. Thanks. So I joined in 2017, right? And at that time, we were doing 10 to 12 concerts a year, at the amphitheater. And, then we partnered with Live Nation. And in 2021, it's a half year, right? Because we're still coming out of COVID.
Right.
And we did 25 shows, most shows we'd ever done.
Right.
And since 22.
Oh, I remember
50 shows.
Yeah, I remember 25 shows. And we were like,
mind blowing.
Oh my gosh.
And it started in August.
How is this going to work?
Is this sustainable?
Right. Right. And so you're in there doing digital marketing, and then what's the next step for you? I mean, what happened within the company?
Well, you guys probably know Noelle Fredlund.
Yeah.
She stepped down, and there was an opening, and I was promoted from within. Good fit. I think initially
There's a lot of fear in taking on that job because
and especially somebody that so much of what we do is groundwork that Noelle built, right? And so anytime you're taking over for somebody that has been there for so long and done such a good job, but it's been really fun. This being our 25th anniversary and kind of the next step that we've taken with Live Nation, we're also getting ready to build new 3 new buildings on the north end.
Yeah.
It feels kind of like the second chapter of the old Mill District, and that's been really fun to be a part of, to see kind of where we go after that initial, 2001 is when we first opened shops, right? And where do we go from here, right? What's growth look like down there on both sides of the river? It's been an absolute blast to work on.
One of the things that's kind of unusual about the old mill is that, those kind of hybrid entertainment, retail operations, they're usually bought and they're not local. In most communities, those are, they're Alden Capital or they're things like that.
Yep. I think we take a lot of pride in, this is our only development my office is right above the new Madewell and Warby Park, right? We're boots on the ground every single day. Our leasing office is right above the Whitewater Park. And we talk to tenants about this all the time is, I think we've got a really good pulse of what's going on, what's working, what maybe's not. You guys have probably seen since November, we've opened 7 new businesses. Dudley's Bookstore, Will Leather Goods, the Stacks Deli that Stephen Sherry helped, Revolver. So, Revolver is a great example. We didn't know that Francesca's was leaving until they declared national bankruptcy. And we were able to put something in place with John Davis, just like that. And Revolver's able to open up in 2 months.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is because that's our only project. We are local, right? We're able to make those connections within the community.
Yeah, those people. I mean, those are almost all those they're local folks.
Yeah.
There's certainly the big boys down there, but you do have Stacks, and that's just coming over from downtown with a new look and a new menu. And
it's funny when we go to conventions, outdoor lifestyle centers. We're the black sheep, and most of those places are 90 to 95% national.
Right.
We're 60% national, and I know a lot of times in town we're thought of as the big box area, right?
Right.
But I think everybody that lives here appreciates that we've got REI and Sephora and Anthropologie. Those make up core components of what we do.
Yeah.
We always talk about, I think I've had several people ask, have we been more focused on local? We have, but more than that, we're always focused on best in class. Who does these things really well, right? And so, I think Revolver, nobody does menswear like Revolver, so we were excited to do them. We worked with Tom Beans at Dudley's for several years because we think he has one of the best bookshops in town. At the same time, I don't think anybody sells. REI does a really good job selling, multiple different outdoor brands.
Sure. Yeah. What does so in terms of entering your second chapter, I mean, what does that look like for you guys? I mean, you're building that other area over there. Maybe just let.
Yeah. So that north end, you've probably noticed the construction. It's gone on since the winter. We're about ready to finish that up. That's groundwork, but then there'll be 3 new buildings there, right?
Yeah.
So, we wish we would have added that years ago, but we'll have 3 new buildings. It'll be about 3,000 square feet of retail and food and beverage.
Yeah.
You can imagine we call it X, Y, and Z. X it's that primo spot right on the water where we used to do some outdoor yoga. Y will be right across the hot pond from like Cafe Yum and Lady Bird. And then Z will run parallel on Powerhouse, kind of across from Athleta.
Okay.
But we've also
is it all retail?
No.
Will there be
50-50?
Okay.
But it'll be 50-50 food and beverage.
Okay.
And X will be a restaurant. Y will likely be maybe half food and beverage, half retail. And Z will probably mainly be retail, but we'll see.
I know Marnie has always had a high affection for the hot pond. So.
Oh, the hot pond's great.
I can remember her always going, you could do an event on the hot pond. The hot pond's incredible. And I was like, right. So yeah, I know it's a dream come true.
We also, if you're familiar with the amphitheater, south of the amphitheater, there's that horseshoe of undeveloped land around the Hampton.
Yeah.
And so that is land that we own and we plan to develop very, very initial stages, but that'll probably be a little bit more entertainment, hospitality focused as far as more restaurants and interactive things over there.
How does the amphitheater look in terms of, what does its future look like in terms of infrastructure and,
I guess a couple things. One, I love this year that we're going a little bit later in the season. Last year we had 2 September shows.
Right.
This year we have 12 or 14, and we've got the 2 in October.
Yeah.
I think you guys know September, October, especially early October, are just great times to be in Bend. I think that benefits everybody, our tenants and everybody in town. And starting a little bit earlier in May too. Yeah. Eventually we'd like to have permanent structures. So those the cabanas and the chute deck, those are temporary structures that come down at the end of the year, and then we put back up at the start of the year.
Which has got to be a ton of fun.
Oh yeah. Well, and we'd love to have flushing toilets as well. Right. So, that is kind of long-term goal of where we could have some kind of permanent structure that has, it has, permanent toilets for GA. And then probably ideally we combine some of those premium seating elements with the second, maybe even a third floor. And you could also do some things, maybe with a commercial kitchen as well. We've started on some plans with that, backed off. But we'll see, right? That's probably the next evolution of the amphitheater.
Yeah, I remember that there's always been some talk about it and proposed things, and I think you got a vision there, and
And I say all that too, right? It's a great place to see a show right now, and we're very conscious of you don't want to do anything that takes away from the specialness of the venue.
Sure. Yeah, if we were fortunate enough to watch a couple shows from the cabanas, and that is an amazing look. I mean, temporary structure or not.
Oh, right.
It's a great space. That is a great space. Yeah. So it's been good. What about you personally, Beau? I mean, this is like what's on the horizon for you now that you're in there, you're moving and grooving with the amphitheater. What do you look to? More writing for magazines or?
Oh no, I wish. Well, and this is the small town nature of Bend too. When I became the marketing director, I had to have a conversation with like Bend Magazine and say, hey, I'm writing for you, but I'm also buying media from you. We need to call that out, right? So, Ross and Heather are great, and so did that for a while, and it's just from a time standpoint, it became really tough.
Yeah, sure.
I've got a 4-month-old, so that is taking up a lot of my time right now.
That's what we should have been talking about. All this aside, a 4-month-old.
Yeah. I have a 4-month-old and I have a 2-year-old granddaughter as well. Okay. So there's a lot of things that are taking my time, and in the best of ways right now.
Yeah. How is it having a 4-month-old?
Good.
Yeah.
I'll be honest,
because you've already been through the daddy phase.
I don't remember.
You're daddy too.
I don't remember the first times around. So I know it goes fast, and I'm just kind of taking it all in.
Yeah, I jumped out of an airplane one time, and after I was done, the guy was like, "You got to do it again," because you weren't even conscious during that. And I'm like, "That's absolutely true." And it was like my parenting. It was like just rushing before your eyes, and boom, you hit the ground. It was like, "How was it?" And I was like, "I don't know what just happened."
And it's pretty different from doing it at 32 versus 47, right? Yeah. So I think I've been very conscious about slowing down and enjoying it. Yeah.
Well, you're much smarter too, and you're just you're more level. Hopefully nothing's set in yet, but you're just more mellow when you're older.
You're a little more confident in yourself.
I felt a lot better as I was an older parent. Of course, the parenting was over, but I gave great advice now. If people want parenting advice, I can't do it, but I sure could talk about it. Well, Beau, we're at the end of our time.
Great.
Yeah. Is there anything that we didn't touch on with regard to, things that are going on and 25th anniversary celebration?
I'd throw out 25th anniversary. I'd say, first off, man, thank you for everybody that came down for the anniversary party. Yeah. That was so much fun. We didn't know I'll be perfectly honest. We had no idea what to expect, right? It was a non-ticketed show. We didn't know if 200 people were going to show up or 4,500 is what we estimated. Absolute blast. It was so cool to see the community come out and dance and sing. We have some more celebrations coming in September. A lot of our shops are doing different things, whether it's different food and beverage specials or 25% off. It's all on the website, but it's been really cool, right? It's like I gotta mention it. That first chapter has been so much fun to celebrate. We've done some history deep dives. It's been really cool to see how this thing came along. I don't think people realize when Bill put this together, how radical of an idea it was. This,
right.
This timber town, right, on the east side of the mountains of 30,000 people.
Right.
You're gonna try to do a San Antonio River walk? What?
Right.
The amphitheater was built. Bill always called it the sizzle that sells the steak. Right. It's the amphitheater. Pays for itself now, but for the first 18 years, it didn't. It was there to drive traffic to the district.
Right.
Marnie's got these great posters from our first concert season. There's Lyle Lovett, Chris Isaac, and John Hyatt. But it's literally instructions on how to get there. Like because for 80 years, right? That was fenced off timber territory that nobody came down to. So it's been really cool to see Bill's vision come through, and then for us to be able to build on it. It's been really fun.
I was at that. I remember being at that Lyle Lovett concert, and he's playing up there and the sun was setting. It was one of those perfect nights. It was pink and purple skies. And Lyle even mentioned something on stage, and I was just, and as you were standing there, if you're one of those people, you're like, this is going nowhere but up. This thing is incredible, and it certainly has played out that way. So congratulations.
Oh, it's been really fun to be a part of.
Great. Well, Beau, thanks for being here.
Thanks
I
for
really
having me,
appreciate
guys.
you taking the time. I know you're busy and everything's cranking right now. So
yeah, fun to talk shop.
Appreciate it. This has been the Bend Don't Break podcast. If you like what you heard, go to bensource.com, become a member, become a reader, and support the things we do so we can keep having more fun like this. Thank you. You've been listening to the Bend Don't Break podcast, powered by The Source Weekly. To read, hear, and see more of what we do, go to bensource.com.